Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Q&A here at the Dice Tower. Normally, I run this at 10 a.m., I think, on Mondays. Or do I run it? No, because I do board game breakfast at 9. And then Q&A is at noon, right? Sorry. So I'm doing Q&A because we're not doing board game breakfast today. Although I guess I could have, but I decided to hold it off till tomorrow. So you'll see board game breakfast tomorrow live, and you'll also see us do a live gameplay tomorrow, Perpetuity. Yeah, so today's a day off. I gave the guys 3 days off, Thursday, Friday, and Monday, because of the Autumn Spectacular. The Autumn Spectacular is a ton of work, both pre and during it. But I think it went pretty well. I'm pretty happy with how a lot of things on it went. So I'm glad. We have so many games to talk about and play. And later on today, I'm going to do kind of an unannounced here. I'm announcing it now, but I'm going to do at 2 o'clock, I'm going to do a little Essen preview where I just go through the games that are coming out at Essen and give you some quick thoughts on if I've played it already or what I think of them. I'm not going to go through every game because there's a gazillion of them, but I'll talk about a lot of them. So, and I'll sort them by order of popularity so we don't miss any of the big ones. So that's a little bit later today. This is, again, is a Q&A where you can ask questions, and I might answer them. I don't answer every question. And asking multiple times doesn't do anything for you. Yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead. It's been a good weekend. Me and a couple of the guys and a couple of my kids went to Halloween Horror Nights in Universal Studios, which was spooky but fun. And I played a lot of games this weekend with both my family and a game group. So let's see here. Would you ever do a series where you compare similar games like Dune versus Arnak? Well, first of all, they're not similar. It's mind-boggling that people keep comparing them. The only way that they're similar is that they both are slightly deck builders, and you both place workers to get with a card. Other than that, they're completely different games, and I think it's only because they came out the same year that people are comparing them. So I wouldn't compare those. I have compared similar games in the past, and I might do it again in the future, but I wouldn't make a series out of it. What did you think of the What If series? Well, I'm going to actually talk about that tomorrow. That's my review in the for our board game breakfast. So I'll give some more thoughts on that there. What would you say, how accurate were your picks for the spiel? Did more games disappoint or amaze you in the end? I'm going to make a wild guess that you mean the Spiel des Jahres there. And I don't remember what I picked. I think I picked Micro Macro, but I don't know that I picked it to win. Do more games disappoint me or amaze me in the end? I don't know. That's a good question. I am equally, like this past Saturday, I played a game that disappointed me, and I played a game that I thought was pretty amazing. So who knows? But I'd say it's about equal amounts. Although I don't get that. Like if a game disappoints me, I don't go to bed that night going, "Rrr." I kind of put it out of my mind until the review. It's nice to see another young lady named Ruby, as that's my daughter's name as well. Yeah, it's not. Ruby is one of those ones. So when I name my kids, I just pick names that I like. The way that we chose the names for our kids is I would write down every possible name that I would like for one of my kids. It wasn't a very long list. Like I might write 20 names, and then I gave that list to my wife, and then she picked one of those. So it would have been the same way if we had done the opposite. Like if she had picked a bunch of names, it's just easier than us going, "Do you like this one? No, no, no." Just felt easier that way. And so I just have always liked the name Ruby. It is an older name, but so was Violet, who is my other daughter, although Violet has come back. There are many people named their kids Violet now. So maybe Ruby will come back too. But we have never once gone to a theme park or a gift shop that has those personalized things, and I found all my kids' names. Melody is very rare. It's usually Melanie. Amy is the easiest. There's usually Amy's. Clara often, but not always, because Clara, again, is one of those older names. Violet was rare. It's coming back in vogue now. Ruby, very rarely find that one. And then Jimmy, of course, is very easy to find. Oh, Holly. Sorry. Holly is also harder to find. And many times when I find Holly, it's with a I instead of a Y. Thank you to all the people who are saying nice things about the Autumn Spectacular. I'm very excited. We're working on the winter one already. You said, fantastic Autumn Spectacular, everyone involved. It was a blast. Is there a remote possibility to bring back the component drop? I know that you're asking that because I just literally, before I started this, saw that you posted that same thing on Facebook. No, it is way too much work. And it was fine. I mean, it was my style, and I know people liked it, and it was a thing. But the fact of the matter is, I think it's more important that we get you guys better videos. And if I have more time to work on other things and get stuff done, the component drops was taking up a huge amount of time. So, you know, I'd rather work on other cool videos that we can put out. On the podcast, you've given Eric some grief over how his game group chooses on what games they play on a given night. What's the system that they use to choose? So this is actually his older game group. His new game group does not do this, I think. But the original one was they would have a pick night. And don't get me wrong, I don't think actually that the system is a bad system. It's a system I don't want to do, but I can understand why people like it. So when it's your night, so they usually have enough people for 2 games. This is what I'm going by what Eric told me. So if it's your night, you say, I want to play game X. Then the next person on the pick list can say, I want to play game Y, or they can give that up and play game X. And then the next person can say, I want to play game Y, or they can join game X. And you keep going, but everyone's going to be playing one of those 2 games. Or I suppose if there's enough people for 3 games. So that's an interesting idea. It would never work for me because I'm a reviewer and I need to play new games a lot. So I would not want to play game X. And sometimes if I don't like game X, I don't want to be in it. So then you say, we'll play game Y. But what if I don't want to play game Y either? Now, I do say that this system is better than everyone standing around going, what do you want to play? I don't know. What do you want to play? I don't know. What do you want to play? And that goes on forever and ever. Amen. But that being said, so I can see that there's many good facets of it. And I can see it working for a lot of groups. For me, and maybe it's more of a dominant thing. If I invite people over, I'll set the game up, I'll teach the game, but I'm also going to pick the game. But usually when we get game here at the studio, there's 3 or 4 games going on. So if you don't want to play my game, there's other games to play. So there's usually a game you can play. Who in the Dice Tower crew is a coffee drinker? Not a ton of coffee drinkers here. I guess Mike drinks 1 coffee every morning. Z does not drink coffee much at all. Kenny drinks some, but not much. Roy doesn't drink coffee. I don't drink coffee. I don't know if Chris drinks much coffee or not. But no one is like, I want coffee that badly. Did you see the Muppets Haunted Mansion? I did not. I was actually planning to see that tonight. Oh, the Essen spiel. Sorry. I guess that would make sense. That's this week. So going back to your questions, I forget what you asked originally. How accurate were your picks for the spiel? Oh, I don't know what I picked now. I don't know that I picked at all. So I don't know. Sorry. I'm still playing through all the games there, so I won't have any picks at all. Will you be an updated top 10 games of prolific designers? We'll do that at some point. Yes, I just don't know when. Actually, that might be a lie. I think I do know when. Yes, I think Ruby and Violet did a great job. We're going to be reposting the videos from Autumn Spectacular starting on Tuesday, and then Wednesday you're going to start seeing all this stuff posted as smaller videos so that you can be involved and just watch that particular game. What IP did not get a good game and deserves it? Doctor Who? Yeah, Doctor Who. I don't think there's a great Doctor Who game out yet. There's a lot of games that don't have a great version of them out yet. G.I. Joe was one for me. I know they just made a G.I. Joe deck builder game, but I want a G.I. Joe miniature style game. But there's tons and tons. Who's your favorite investigator in Arkham Horror card game? I don't play the Arkham Horror card game a lot, so I don't know. Ashcan Pete is what I would recommend. Yes. What are my favorite moments from this year's Autumn Spectacular? We just had a really good time. Of the games we played, I really thought the final game of Rob went really well. I was amused very much. I like when people really give it to each other and stuff. You know, we like to do back and forth. And when Camille called me a toddler, that was just, I thought that was a very amusing moment. Yeah, our game of the Mickey and Friends game was very exciting. I just had a good time the whole time through. Did I miss a top 10 with Sam and the Autumn Spectacular? You did not. We did not do one. There wasn't room for a top 10 in this particular spectacular, but have no fear. Plenty of top 10s will be coming in the winter one when we do our best of the year, for sure. That being said, we will be doing a top 10 with Sam at Dice Tower West, if Sam comes. But the likelihood of him coming there is pretty high. So if Sam comes to Dice Tower West, we're going to do a top 10 there. 7 kids, indeed. But I'm actually down to 5 because 2 of them are out of the house. Oh, look, AT&T is calling me. I feel like I should answer this, but I can't, so I'm just going to not answer that. I don't often get a call from AT&T. Ruel was a fabulous guest. Yes, that he was. It was a lot of fun. Do you still play Slay the Spire or any other app games? I jump around and play various app games at any given point. Like I've been playing a lot of Ascension lately, and then I play Hearthstone decent amount, and I play a game called Marvel United, which is just kind of a fighting style game. That's pretty much it. But I might play Slay the Spire again at some point. Yeah, you know, there's going to be so many Euro games. Some years there's a few Euro games, some years there's a lot. This year there is a ton of Euro games. I mean, we got heavy ones, medium weight ones. There is a lot, and they're all coming out right now. I am just literally swimming, not literally, figuratively swimming in games here, and so many games to talk about. I mean, I'm talking about a lot of cool games this week, and I got so many to talk about in the upcoming week. So actually, if you watch the Essen preview later today, I'll give you you'll get some early thoughts on a lot of the games. Why didn't you, Z, and Sam play a game together on screen during the spectacular? I just never thought of that, actually. It just never happened that way. We did not. I guess that would have been a funny callback and never worked out. I try to schedule it out so everyone is not on camera at the same time, and I have a teacher for each game. So me and Z only played, I think, 1 game together, maybe 2, because we're usually teaching the games that we're playing and running those games. So that's likely what it was. The final game would have had Sam in it, likely, except he had to leave a little earlier. So that's just the way things worked out. But yeah, that does seem like a missed opportunity. My kids are okay with co-op games. As if you watch the top 25, they have a few of them in there. So we just play something new usually for the co-op games. I have not watched The Expanse. I watched part of the first episode, got a little lost, and then never caught up. I did not see the new James Bond movie. The spectaculars are so fun, but I know that they're a lot of work for the team. Are you going to continue them? I would like to. I think so. What's the best Halloween costume you or your kids ever wore? I don't know. I don't put a lot of effort into it. My kids put more effort into them than I do. My daughter was just showing me her Halloween costume, and I have no idea what it is. I just know that it has something to do with anime. In the last 10 years, which mechanisms have you noticed being used much less often or rose in popular considerably? Deck building is going down and being used for sure. Roll and write is definitely on the uptick. Deck building, though, has had a recent upswing in mixing it with other things. Real time has had an upswing of real-time games. Worker placement hasn't paused in the last years, just continual real-time. Engine building is on the upswing. That's a few things. I would have to think more. Is the plant behind me real or fake? Definitely fake. You can tell because if you go back, maybe 50 videos, the leaves should be the exact same position. I did not play the new Dominant Species at 2, and I would not know. It doesn't seem like the kind of game I would play with 2 players. When will the Winter Spectacular be? I want to say it's the... Oh, I actually know. I could just tell you. Give me a second. The Winter Spectacular. Let me pull up my calendar. By the way, I will announce this. So there's well, let me do the Winter Spectacular. I'm getting off topic here. So it's in December. It is December. Wait. Why did that go? Why is it not showing the Winter Spectacular here? That's weird. Huh. I want to say the Winter Spectacular is the 13th through the 16th of December, but it's not on my calendar here. Well, whatever. I got to get that fixed. All right, so a couple things. So in 2 weeks from today, so that would be the 25th through the 29th. A lot of people have asked us to do Testing Tuesday again. So we're going to do testing all week long, basically. And that's so from the 25th to the 29th, every day, we're just going to play games live all day long. But this ain't paid playthroughs or anything. This is no strings attached. We're just playing what we want to play. Now, granted, we're going to play some games that you're going to like, and I know for sure, for example, we're going to play Foundations of Rome with the new copy. You're going to see that one being played. So that's going to be in that time frame. But other than that, you're going to just see a bunch of games being played all week in various times. Secondly, because the hotel had some problems with the Dice Tower Retreat, we got moved from where we were going to be holding Dice Tower Retreat to a bigger room, which means we have more tickets that we can sell, like 20. It's not a lot, and it's very soon. The Dice Tower Retreat is in November. This I do have on the calendar. It is from the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. Actually, I can tell you now, it's going to actually start on the 9th because since we got the room, they're also going to let us start playing a little bit early. It will start the night time at 9th. But that's a lot of time. That's 5.5 days of gaming. So if you want to be involved in that, just email us. Just email me at tom@dicetower.com or kenny@dicetower.com, and we will put you in touch and you can get a ticket. It's real easy. I know that for a lot of people, this is not a lot of advance notice. It is a month away, but it's going to be fantastic, and we're going to have almost all the hot games that came out at Essen or around this time frame. I know this because they're like sitting right over there. So if you just want to come and play games and have a fantastic time, you will enjoy that, I think. Alrighty, back to questions. Thought it was funny when Sam had that, wait, sorry, I one moment. Does that happen to you? And if so, how do you handle it? Yeah, I really hate when that happens to me, especially when you're like, oh, I forgot these points. Ooh, that made me win. usually I'm like, well, I'll just count it as you winning. I don't really care that much if I win most of the time. There are a few people I play with where I really want to beat them. But for the most part, yeah. Have you heard from Sokotoa lately? Usually at a good angle to handle picking a game for game night. I don't think he has a good angle on Chief Sokotoa on picking the game for game night. I mean, he uses the Flambaco method, which is not a method that a lot of people like using because it usually involves one of the people being transported to a weird dimension. I mean, at one time, there was, I think, 7 of us, and so we did this, and then we all went to different dimensions, and it was like 16 weeks later, after a long period, and there was dinosaurs involved and mushkaks, and all that stuff together just caused and then at the end of the time, one of the players was like, I can't even play the game because I have other things to do. So that was problematic, but it was a very entertaining time. Do you think the World Series of Board Games will eventually lead to board games on ESPN2? Who knows? I don't think so, but it'd be cool. Let's see here. As a sole representative from Australia, we must ask if you ever had Vegemite. Well, first of all, yes, I have. It was okay. But you're not the sole representative from Australia. We have lots of folks who watch us from Australia. In fact, some of our contributors, like Stella and Ella and Tarrant, are all from Australia. No, I didn't say there was no Winter Spectacular. I just said I couldn't find the dates, but it's on the calendar and out there. I just haven't added it to our Google Calendar yet. I see some really neat 3D printable track pieces for Pitchcar Online. Would that be something you'd be interested to try? For sure. I love anything that works with Pitchcar. Congratulations to Brant for turning 40. Yes, I played Escape the Haunted Mansion. You got to watch my reviews, Brant. People always ask if I played a game. If I reviewed it, I hope I played it. Are you excited for the new Wheel of Time TV series, and what are your first impressions? I know you're a fan of the books. I'm a mostly fan of the books, but I am excited by the trailer. I just watched a new trailer that showed one scene. I don't know about the main characters. The kids, essentially, teenagers. I don't know about them yet, but Moraine and Lan, they nailed them, I think. They look amazing, so that's cool. I like the look of it. Has almost a Middle-earth feel to it in many regards, but I'm excited about seeing it. We can hope. I'm not going to be a person who's tied to the books. They can make changes from the books. That's not a problem by me. In fact, I hope some things they do change from the books. But I still would like to see some of the cool scenes from the books. What games do you commonly have rituals in, like chanting Ra and Ra? Well, in Ave Caesar, when you say Ave Caesar, I make people stand up and throw the chip into the box. I'm sure there's other ones, but yes. But we always do chant Ra and Ra. Best advice for introverts for finding games to play with others on a Dice Tower cruise. Well, using a flag helps a lot. Put up a flag. We have flags that say player, you're looking for players want it or teacher want it. That's a good way, especially if teacher want it. Maybe someone come over and teach you the game. If that doesn't work, then look for other people using the flag and go up and like, hey, can I play this game with you all? And that's usually a good way. And if that doesn't work, then come find me. I will personally get you into a game with some people. Or if I have time, play with you myself. Can't promise that, but I'll find you a game. Running a board game night for my church, their only rule is no games with dice. That's an odd thing. Are they opposed to Monopoly, for example? Any suggestions? Well, Ticket to Ride has no dice. There's a lot of games that don't have dice. I'm not going to go through a list of them, but there's a ton of games that have no dice. I would just go through and be like, Ticket to Ride, Carcassonne, Century. You know, there's a lot of games that have no dice. I think you'll find I look distinguished, says Dan Hughes. And then he had the nerve to put that next to the picture of him. Lying on our channel. Have you ever had a gaming competition with your team to see who's the board game master for bragging rights? No, and I probably never will. We know who's better than others. I'm in the bottom tier. I'm okay with that. Do you think king making will be an issue in a world series of board games? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Will we ever have a top 10 board games from each of your family members? Well, I just did Ruby and Violet, and Melody's done hers. They're the gamers, so I think you've got everything you're going to get. Maybe you'll get Jimmy's at some point. Do you think there will be a reprint of Ra? I've heard that there's a reprint of Ra in the works. We'll have to see. I hope so, because it's cool. Let's see here. Have you ever lost a component and never replaced it? Yes, actually. I've lost the Holy Grail from Shadows over Camelot. And I know that there's other few pieces that I'm missing. Sometimes I'll get the game again. Shadows over Camelot, I didn't want to replace the whole game. So I had it replaced with just this yellow cone for a while. I don't know if it's replaced still to this day. And that seems like an easy one to replace, like find a little, just a little golden cup. If anyone knows where I can get a little grail, even if it's like a dollhouse type piece, I would like to get that for that game. Endangered New Species is a game that Mike and Z both like a lot. I didn't care for it nearly as much. I thought it was okay. It was fine. I didn't hate it. I just didn't care for it as much as they both really liked it. So I'm sure they'll talk about the expansion when it comes out. What are some of my least favorite foods? Well, I despise breakfast cereal. I just don't, and that's a lot because I just don't like milk on stuff. I just don't like breakfast cereal. I don't like bologna sandwiches. I don't like mayonnaise particularly. I mean, when it's mixed with other stuff, like I like potato salad. I like salads, but mayonnaise in a sandwich just really bothers me. Of course, I don't like ketchup on a sandwich either. Ketchup on a hamburger is okay. Things I don't like. I'm sure there's a lot of things I don't like. It's just that they don't come to mind because I'm not overly picky when it comes to food. Let's see here. What is king making, says Zebulon. King making is when there's a point in a game where I'm not going to win, but the way I play will cause someone else to win. Now, you'll find arguments over this to Kingdom Come. King making is going to be argued over to the end of days, and I could go on this for a long time because there's so many different ways to king make. Sometimes at the end of a game, I can make a move that will benefit one player or benefit the other player, and I pick who wins the game, essentially. That's king making. Now, there's arguments that you should always try your best to advance your position. Some people go out of their way to do it on purpose, like I'll help you win because I like you better. They'll bring things from outside the game into it. Sometimes it's from in the game itself. Like, remember earlier when you attacked me? Well, you're not winning this game now. Some games it can happen more often than not. So there's a lot of nuances. It can be very, very negative, but sometimes it's part of the game. So that's king making. What's my favorite Saturday morning cartoon of all time? Well, I didn't have a TV growing up, so I didn't have Saturday morning cartoons to jump into. I still watched cartoons when I was at my grandparents' house and other places. From my childhood, I'm pretty sure my favorite cartoon was G.I. Joe. I'm pretty sure that or Transformers. It was G.I. Joe or Transformers. But I also liked I'm just saying cartoons at this point. I also really liked the Seven Cities of Gold. That was on Nickelodeon. I really enjoyed it. Or the Mysterious Seven Cities of Gold. I forget the name of it. I liked Mask. I liked... trying to think of the different cartoons. I liked all the Disney afternoon. That's definitely not Saturday morning. But I liked the Disney afternoon stuff too. Introducing my kids to Lost, and they're loving it. I'm not showing my kids Lost because I'll just get mad watching it all over again. Are there any TV shows you love that you went back to introduce your kids when they got older? Maybe. Maybe. I haven't really thought about that. You know, there are some older good shows, I guess. Maybe. I haven't put much thought into that. How was it having Sam back in the studios for a few days? Hey, it was just like having him back here before. And I mean, it was a little bit, obviously, it was very chaotic. The Autumn Spectacular, people running back and forth. But we had a good time. Are you excited for Marvel Dice Throne? I am excited for Marvel Dice Throne. And in fact, remember I talked about that testing week? We'll be playing Marvel Dice Throne during that week. One of the sets. Doing anything for your church fall festival this year? I'm not. I don't think we're having one, actually. I'm doing a box maze. When was the last time you did one of those? It's been a long time. But I might do one. The problem with the box maze, the biggest problem with the box maze is getting and storing the boxes. Because you need to hunt for months in advance to get those boxes. But if you can, then it's amazing. How many old favorites have you played in 2021? A lot. So fun to realize how many fun games there already are readily available. Well, yes, but I don't think anyone's not thinking that. Do you think the Catch-A-Palooza will have an effect on upcoming top 10s of all time? Top 100 at the Winter Spectacular? Well, the all-time 100 is, we do that during January. With something else that I have in mind that I think is going to be a lot of fun. I have not set it up yet, so I'm not announcing it, but I got a fun idea for January. Forbidden Island has a nice grail to use. Yeah, but I don't know that I can, I don't want to steal that grail, but you're right. That is a nice one. I could steal that. Can we have a top 10 from the book, please? Why not? Ugh. Let's see. We'll go near the end this time. Oh, it's blank. All right. My top 10 superstitions, I don't really have them. Alternative bands, I don't have that. My top 10 appetizers. All right. A food one. I can do that. I like, let's see, appetizers. I like, when they're done well, cheese curds. I've had a lot of bad cheese curds in my life that were not breaded well, too much batter and stuff, but I really like cheese curds. Other appetizers, I like the redneck egg rolls from the barbecue place. I like those. I really like fried pickles, but I like fried pickle spears better than fried pickled chips. Because, again, the ratio of pickle to the fried is better. Fried mushrooms I really like. Now, lest you think I'm a big fried man, I'm actually not. I like tuna dip with chips. I'm sorry, fresh tuna. I like that a lot. Anything shrimp, firecracker shrimp. I particularly like shrimp that's not fried. So, the best appetizers in the world, by far, are at a place down here in Key Largo called The Fish House. The Fish House is not a very spectacular name, but if you go to Yelp and look at the reviews of it, it's almost 5 stars, and it's worth it. It's this little place with all these tchotchkes inside. It's small, doesn't look like much. Their food is delicious, but their appetizers are out of this world. And in fact, the last time we went there, which was for my birthday, I said, you know what, let's just get appetizers, and it was worth it. So my favorite appetizer there by a mile is the prosciutto shrimp. It's shrimp wrapped in prosciutto. It is so good. Then they have angels, horseback angels, or I forget what they're called. It's basically giant scallops wrapped in bacon. Phenomenal. They have the buffalo shrimp, which is essentially just shrimp and buffaloes, but it's so good. It is unbelievably good. They have fried conch, which I really like. And until I moved down here, I didn't know that you pronounced it conch. I always thought it was conch. But I like conch better than clam. You know, if you're counting soups in part of this, and lobster bisque is on top of that. But yeah, folks, I'm not kidding. If you ever go to Key Largo, and don't go to the fish house and get some of their appetizers, you are missing out. My top 10 appetizers, I think 8 of them would be from that restaurant. That's how good they are. It's phenomenal. They're probably my favorite restaurant. Although there's another restaurant very close to them called the Lazy Lobster, which they're good too. All right. What's your favorite escape the room like board game? I've done a top 10 list. I'm going to redo it at some point. I also did. I ranked all the unlock games in order. If you'd like to see me do that. The Mysterious Cities of Gold. The Lost ending was the worst. I don't think it was the worst. There's some really good moments in it. When Hurley opens the door to Charlie's house, I really liked that. I liked basically anything involving Hurley in the final episode. I really liked. There was a lot of nice moments and a lot of nice character moments in it. But yeah, the explanation and everything else, the lack of explanation for a lot of things in it. When it was over, I had some feel-good moments. I was like, okay, that was fun. A lot of character. Yes, they didn't explain the main stuff, but they explained some things. Okay, great. And then I watched a video about all the stuff they didn't explain in Lost, and it just got me infuriated. And then I was there somewhere, and they started rewatching Lost, and they were like, "Ooh, what do you think this is?" And I was like, you know what? They're never going to tell you, and I can't watch that. I don't know that I'm a kind of person who needs every little thing explained, but I want an explanation. I like explanations. Doctor Who spoiled me for this, and yes, some of the explanations in Doctor Who are wonky, but in Doctor Who, when they would do a series of it at the beginning, they'd be like, ooh, who's this person in the spacesuit that shot the doctor? Ooh. Then when they explained it later on, I was like, that's cool. And then they usually had some, because they planned it out ahead of time. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm always cautious now about getting into any new series where they're like, ooh, what's happening? Yeah, don't tell me what's going on at some point. If you had unlimited money, do you think you would have even more kids? Money had nothing to do with how many kids I had. Super chat from Lewis. What are your favorite modules for Vindication beyond the base game? I want to expand from the base game and not sure where to start. I don't know the names of any of them. The one that uses the triangle is my favorite of the modules. Other than that, I just would randomly pick a couple modules and try them. They're easy to throw in and out. Lost is amazing through and through. I don't care what you all say about the ending. Well, that's fine. I mean, I don't think anyone should ever be upset. Like if someone says, I hate that show, I'm like, okay, that's fine. it's not a big deal. There's a lot of shows that I like that I know a lot of people don't like, and that's okay. It don't bother me. Don't let someone else spoil your fun. But at the same time, if I'm going to pick what I'm going to show to other people, I'm not going to pick something I don't like. Oh, well, we would have been best friends. We still could be best friends. The thing about Mask actually was not a great show per se. In fact, in Mask, one of the episodes, they found the 7 cities of gold too. I guess it was a thing back in the 80s, right, to find the 7 cities of gold. Mask was definitely there to do those toys. But I think of all the toys from my childhood, I thought Mask was really fun. You press the button and all the guns shot out of those. They were really neat toys. Oh, me and Mike, when we were coming back from Orlando, Mike and I were driving together with my kids, and we stopped in Fort Lauderdale, and we were looking for a game store. And unfortunately, the game store was incredibly lackluster. But around the corner from the game store was this toy store, and we're like, yeah, we'll go in it. Man, nostalgia heaven. It was a really nice toy store, and I apologize, I don't remember the name of it, but it was fantastic. And they had so many toys from our childhood. They had G.I. Joes and wrestling figures and, everything that I could think of was there from my childhood. All of that stuff. All the vehicles, some of it. And it was funny because it makes me laugh because some of those toys you're like, oh, if I had kept that, it'd be worth hundreds of dollars. But it's next to about 30 toys that are now worth $4 or $5. Not everything is valuable from when we were kids. But man, there were things I forgot. Food fighters and the little pink dudes who wrestled, and it was cool. And I bought a couple things that I always get some tchotchkes. So I got actually a Dick Tracy figure, which I haven't opened up yet. It's actually outside. I'm going to put it here. And then I got, these are not old, these were new. Every place sells the pop figures, but they're from One Punch Man. So like, One Punch! Now you don't know who he is. It was a great toy store. How often do you add more to the Shoots and Marbles track? Are there seasons? Well, we're about to do the championship tomorrow. Not really seasons. We might get to that point. But we're going to add whenever David makes us more stuff for it. But it's a lot of work to make the things for it. So I'm not, when he sends in a new segment, we'll make, he just sent us in the higher thing, so now it's a faster track. And then before that, he sent in another magnetic one with different gates and things on it. So it's going to be fun messing with that stuff as new ones come in. Have you ever taught a game wrong? Yes. Or missed a rule? Yes. But never corrected it? Yes. And watched the game play out as is? Well, we usually try to correct a rule if possible. Sometimes we need to on Saturday, I missed a rule on a game we played, and it was such a critical rule that we restarted the game, but we were only like 10 minutes in too. Sometimes we'll say, okay, we'll start the rule from your turn, and now we'll do this rule. Sometimes we're like, well, we started this way, it's too late to change it. It depends. Tom likes poutine. I do like poutine. Oh, we're into the thing. What are your best board game night snacks? Well, usually pretzels. Although Camilla's husband brought in a really good dip. It was like some bean dip or whatever. It was amazing. Really good. Spinach and artichoke dip is pretty good. Yep. Applebee's has a good one. I guess our Applebee's just closed down. Our Applebee's and our Red Lobster just closed down here in Homestead. Not sure why. Homestead is really growing. So I don't know why restaurants are closing. But, it could be COVID. Who knows? And no one wept too much on Red Lobster because we live near the Keys and some of the best seafood restaurants in the world. Like when you go down to the Keys, throw a dart. It's a good restaurant. When I talk about Fish House and Lazy Lobster, they are phenomenal restaurants. But they don't. When I talk about them, not everyone even knows about them because they say, well, I go to this place, and that place is great. And I go to this place. Just go to Key Largo and go to a restaurant. It's a good time. What are my top 5 X-Men? Interesting. Well, Iceman's my favorite. I really like Armor. I don't think they utilize Armor enough, frankly. If you count Morph would make it, but Morph's been an X-Men so infrequently, so let's not count Morph. So, of the X-Men proper, Iceman and Armor are 2 of my favorites. It wouldn't be Cyclops, it wouldn't be Nightcrawler. So that's 3. I would pick Colossus, but he has such long, drama-filled, introspective periods where he gets on my nerves. I do like Beast. Let me think here. Of the X-Men. Oh, well, I'll just go to a list of X-Men, right? So list of X-Men. So let's go through them here. Oh, Shadowcat. I'm sorry. Shadowcat. She's my favorite, probably. I don't know why I forgot about her. I just thought about that when because she was on Excalibur for so long that I always think of her as being on the Excalibur team. So I have Shadowcat, Armor, Nightcrawler, and Iceman. And then I need a 5th. Going through these. No. These are the ones that I'd like Banshee. Maybe Banshee for 5th. Probably not. Oh, Gambit. I like Rogue, but I like Gambit better. I always liked Gambit's style. So I'm going to say Gambit for my 5th. Let's see here. I like Jubilee. She would be in my top 10. So that's 6. So I'm going to go up to 10 here. I'm going to keep picking here. No. Mystique doesn't count. Why'd they put Mystique here? Oh, now they're just putting bad guys who were briefly on the team for a while. Box was not a X-Men. He's Alpha Flight. I guess he was X-Men very briefly. Cloak and Dagger were X-Men? I don't remember what that was. No. Now we're getting into new stuff. They have them by the new ones. Not Hope. X-Man? No. Oh, Blink? Blink doesn't count, though. I would put Blink, but she was not an X-Men. She was briefly on the Next Generation. All right. Well, there you go. I gave you my top 6. I'm sure there's other ones I like. I like a few of the different people who've been there over time. All right, let's go back here. If your hat collection was on fire and you could save only one hat, what would it be? I don't understand why people always say, like, what's your favorite hat? The one I'm wearing is possibly my favorite hat. I really like this one. Who was the actor from Lost? He has a guest on the Dice Tower. That's Jorge Garcia. That's Hurley. Now, that has nothing, he's my favorite character from Lost, but it has nothing to do with the fact that I knew him. In fact, he was my favorite character before I knew who he was. We found out one time that he was a fan of the show and listened to the podcast back in the day, and that was kind of cool. But yeah, he's a really, really nice guy. And I did a daily chat with him last year, so if you look up our daily chats. Are you going to rank all the versions of Dominion? You mean all the expansions? Because there's only 2 versions, the first one and the second one. And have I tried the new app? I've not. I keep meaning to, and I just haven't got around to it. My favorite Doctor Who season. That's a good question. I don't know. Because I really liked how David Tennant finished. It was so strong. His final season was really good, but I don't know if you count, they did like 3 TV movies in a row to finish him out, or 4, I forget what they were, like the specials in a row. And that's phenomenal. I thought it was a good ending. But I might say that I like Matt Smith's second season a lot. A lot. You know, I still think David Tennant's a better Doctor Who, but Matt Smith was so phenomenal. We're talking like I would rank David Tennant a 10 and Matt Smith a 9.9. You know, they were just both so good. That first season, though, still with Christopher Eccleston, who I didn't, you know, I thought he was great at the time. David Tennant outshone him by a mile. But that first season still blew my mind because we were watching it, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's fun. It's silly. It's fun. And then in the final episode, when they're like, do you remember all this stuff that was in these other episodes? And I was like, what? Wow. They set it up ahead of time. That blew my mind that someone actually did that and actually wasn't retroing things, but they had actually put the clues there. And, man, the ending for some of the, I always like the whiz-bang endings. Russell Davies had just great whiz-bang endings that incorporated everything. I just like them a lot. Let's see here. Running through, trying to catch it. Up 1 questions here. Just looking for stuff. We only have 9 minutes left. I'm not sure I've seen the last season of Doctor Who. I think I've only seen 1 season with the new Doctor. Maybe I saw 2. I don't remember. We were not thrilled with the new seasons, me and the kids. The kids kind of faded out. I mean, I don't know why. I couldn't put my finger on what it is. I thought that, is it Jodie Whittaker her name is? I thought she did a fine job playing the Doctor. It wasn't that. The companions were okay. I really liked the old guy. But you know what? They just don't have that same connection. Like with the Doctor and Rose, and the Doctor and Martha, and the Doctor and Donna. That might be my favorite season, with the Doctor and Donna. That was a good season. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. But I mean, I really felt like those were like, just, you felt the chemistry just buzz. Matt Smith and the Ponds, oh my word. I really liked Matt Smith and Amy, but then when you threw Rory in the mix, it was really interesting. And just and then Matt Smith and Clara. I'm mixing actors' names with the names in the show, but I really thought there was buzz there, and that buzz did not seem to be there with the new one. Maybe that's just me, you know. And again, I don't know why. But I kind of just lost interest in it, and we just haven't watched the newest season. My favorite mythological creature? I like griffins a lot, but they're not used very often in things. Minotaurs are cool too, but they're usually bad. But I like Minotaurs. I know there was a good one in Dragonlance novels. Yeah, Lego. I didn't have a lot of Lego bricks as a kid because they were expensive. I didn't have a lot of toys as a kid because they were expensive. But my friend had a ton of stuff, so we would play with his stuff. And those Lego castles were amazing. So my friend was spoiled. And his parents bought him everything. So he would bring it out. We would play with it. Unfortunately, it meant whenever we battled, he had to win. And I was like, well, whatever. You know, that's just the way it is. I got used to losing from him. But he would bring out, like, we played G.I. Joe. We would play He-Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We would play Transformers. We would do Mega Force, Mega Machines, Lego. Yeah, there was just a ton of stuff we'd play. We never played Star Wars for whatever. I wonder why we didn't play Star Wars. We just never did. What's my favorite anime? My favorite anime is One Punch Man. There's another one I really like on Netflix. But I forget the name of it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But I'm noticing I have a type of anime that I like. Yes, here it is. The Disastrous Life of Psyche K. I don't know why I like this show so much. It's so dumb, but I'm amused by it because it's like a commentary on anime more than anime itself. Maybe that's why I like it so much, but that would be it. Do you know at this time if there will be a Dice Tower East 2022? Yes, we've announced it. It's happening in July. Sign-ups, registration for it is going to open in just a couple weeks. So Dice Tower East is on board. I just talked to the Sharon Madden, the director of Dice Tower East, briefly with text this morning. I talked to Tim from Dice Tower West. I saw Jason last week talking about Dice Tower Cruise. Everything's on, baby. We got 4 things. We'll have the Dice Tower Retreat date set up next year soon also. So we have all 4 events. Dice Tower Cruise in February, which, by the way, the registration for that is, we're closing that in a week. So if you want to come to Dice Tower Cruise, make up your mind soon. Then we have Dice Tower West in March at the Rio, which is going to be fantastic. Then we're going to have Dice Tower East in July in Orlando, Florida. And then Dice Tower Retreat here in Miami in September. Do you enjoy wild game meats? I do, actually. I find them to be delicious. How many different games have you played this year? I have no idea. 500 plus, easy. But I don't know how many. How often do you cheat in co-op games on purpose? Say a really bad random result that's unfair. It all depends on when and where we do that. And it depends on the group. It happens more often than not when me and the kids are playing a adventure-style co-op game and something really bad happens, or a couple of them will be like, nah, because we're there for the experience and we don't feel like restarting the game. In fact, we're going to talk about this because this just happened yesterday. We're playing through a new game that we'll be talking about, co-op, and we just got decimated, and we're like, no, we're not going back and restarting this whole thing all over again. So we didn't die just now. That sort of thing. What game would you say has the largest difference of opinion with the Dice Tower crew? I have no idea. Because usually there's one person who loves a game and maybe everyone else doesn't like it. Galaxy Trucker might be one, but I don't know. How does someone in your play group get to join you for live plays? Did Camilla have to win gladiatorial combat against the others? No, but we played a lot of games with Camilla, and I thought she would be really good on camera, and I was right in this case. She was excellent on camera, and we were really glad to have her. She did a fantastic job. No, I don't really like Phantom X that much. He's okay, but he's too powerful. I kind of like them when they're not overly powerful. Wolverine has to make top 10? Not particularly. I don't dislike Wolverine, but I think that I'm just not as big a fan of him because he's so over the top. He's invincible. He's in every storyline these days. And I mean, I'm glad when he shows up and starts slashing people. It's great, but he just isn't one of my favorite characters for that reason. Do you watch or regularly interested in some U.S. sports? No, not particularly. I mean, if they're on, I'll watch them for a while because I find the gameplay of sports fascinating. Like, I'll watch football, I'll watch the plays. I think that's interesting. I'll watch soccer. I like watching the plays go around. I'll watch baseball. Baseball's the most interesting because it's pinpoint here. This went there. This fielder moves here. I find that stuff very interesting. I don't get into the hype on the teams, and I'm very amused by the people who do. It's mind-boggling to me that someone's day is ruined because their team lost. I get that you want your team to win. I mean, I get that joining a team, but if they lose, it doesn't affect you, or it shouldn't affect you, and I find that weird that that happens. Alrighty, well, it's 10:01, so I got some games to review, things to do. I'll be back at 2 o'clock, which is 4 hours from now, with an Essen preview, so I'll see you all then. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Q&A here on the Dice Tower. See ya.